Alrighty, our next speaker is going to be an absolute treat. Amanda Stevens has dedicated 2 decades to understanding why people buy and how organizations can grow through changing times by better understanding their customers and how to build customer advocacy. Amanda is the author of 5 books on sales and marketing and has spoken to over 1,000 conferences in 14 countries. She's a former Young Australian of the Year, a recipient of the Centenary Medal for Business Innovation, and in 2018 was awarded Keynote Speaker of the Year by Professional Speakers Australia. What does the future of customer experience look like? It's a big question and one that our next speaker is going to answer for us in a way that's fun, funny, challenging, and truly unique. So ladies and gentlemen, open your minds, fasten your seatbelts, and get your fun face on. Please join me in welcoming the new consumer futurist, Amanda Stevens.
Please don't stop the music, music, music.
Hey everyone! Amazing!
Please don't stop the music, music.
Hey, I got the green memo, right? I mean, I have to really bring my A game today, because I want to stand out, not blend in. I can't tell you how awesome it is to be here, in a room with real humans, live with you today. As many of you know, I'm a conference speaker. That's what I do for a living. So the last 2 years has been pretty wacky and pretty challenging. So thank you for having me today. I know you've had a lot of information. You're probably at information overload after the last couple of days. So I want to finish this on a high for you. And I really want the next 60 minutes to be an opportunity for you to get inspired and think about the actions that you're going to take on all of the awesome stuff that you've learned over the last 2 days. It's really hopefully an opportunity for you to get a little horizon focused, to think about leaving this room today embracing the power of now and thinking about what is next. What is on the horizon for you in your business? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today with some awesome news. I think that there has never been a better time to be in this industry and to be in this business. I think there is a perfect storm gathering for you right now, and the question is, are you really ready to step up and fully optimize all of the opportunities that are currently converging that spell really good news for the horizon of your business? The last 2 years has been pretty challenging, but I think Napoleon Hill said it best when he said every adversity carries with it the seed for equal or greater benefit. So while none of us would wish the last 2 years to happen again, I think that the time is now to draw a line in the sand and think, what are we going to do with this? What are we going to take forward? What are we going to leave behind? And how can we really optimize the opportunities that have come out of this time in life? And what I really want you to take out of today is that it is up to you. As I said, there are lots of really cool opportunities converging, but it is really about you now and finding the bravest version of yourself, because to really take advantage and really maximize these opportunities, it is going to take bravery, it's going to take courage, and it's going to take you stepping outside your comfort zone, because the world has changed. It's changed permanently, it's changed how we're living, it's changed how we're traveling, it's changed how we're interacting, communicating, connecting, and of course it's changed how we're working. And all this working from home trend has almost been normalised in the last couple of years, which I think, again, is really good news for you. So what's come out of the last couple of years is this concept of forced agility. People are now used to working from home. And I think the transition for a lot of people to go from a full-time job into a home-based business is actually now, that seamless transition is easier than ever. So it's almost like another friction point, another objective in joining this business has been removed for you. And there's some organisations that are literally now going all in on working from home. So Atlassian, which is Australia's big tech success story, announced in April last year that they are now going all in on working from home. If you're an Atlassian employee, you can now work from anywhere in the world. You simply need to have a stable internet connection. You just need to go into the office 4 times a year. So that's the level at which working from home is being normalised. So again, that friction point has been removed. And what I think we're seeing now as a result of that is this blend of personal and professional, which again I think spells amazing, really good news for the future of direct selling and particularly the future of this business. We're seeing right now is that We no longer have this delineation between our work persona and our home persona or our personal persona. I remember last year I did a virtual presentation to the leadership team of a large automotive group, and the CEO sat through my entire presentation with his 2-year-old on his lap. And I remember looking at the screen thinking, wow, this is a real moment. This is an insight into this person's life that we just wouldn't have seen 2 years ago. And so I think this blend of personal and professional and how we combine all of that together is being completely normalised right now. Again, really good news for the future of your industry. As is lifestyle. We know as a result of COVID, we've all reprioritised and rethought about what's really important. And of course, lifestyle and family have moved up the list. Again, really good news for you guys. We're also seeing right now the rise of the millennial. So in the census data that's just come out, for the first time in history in Australia, millennials make up exactly the same proportion as baby boomers. And what's happening is that over time, those numbers are going to overtake. So millennials are on the rise, baby boomers, in terms of numbers, are actually now in decline. But in saying that, and I think this is the intersection of the opportunity, which is so exciting, is that anti-aging and wellness, we're certainly seeing with baby boomers, is on the increase. Baby boomers, while they are falling in numbers, they're increasing in age. In fact, if you are born after 2025, it's more likely than not now that you will live to 100. And wellness and anti-aging and living a well life as people get older is certainly going to be a bigger and bigger priority. Again, really good news for the future of your industry. Of course, we all, one of the things that COVID fast-tracked is that we're all spending a lot more time online. And we have to kind of acknowledge, I think, that we are lucky that the pandemic hit in 2020. I know that's a weird thing to say in the context of a pandemic, but we are lucky that COVID hit in 2020, aren't we? Imagine if COVID had hit in 2000. There'd be no Zoom, no social media, no Netflix. We would have been sitting at home on our Nokia 3300s playing Snake and Tetris. So technology has enabled us to stay connected and to scale our businesses in really amazing ways that didn't exist 20 years ago. But I think now is the time, and I love the concept and the theme of this conference because it is about now. It is about now, really drawing a line in the sand and saying, yes, we've enabled to leverage technology to remain connected, to grow our businesses and reach customers that we simply couldn't prior to that technology. But I think that moving forward, your ability to combine and harness the best of high tech with the best of high touch is actually where your business, where is going to be the difference between where your business is at now and where potentially it could be in 12 months' time. We also spent, of course, online, a lot more time online shopping during COVID, didn't we? Some through necessity, some through convenience, some through boredom, some through day drinking. I'm going to take a punt in the room. That there might have been some people during the pandemic, during lockdowns in particular, that perhaps made an online purchase that you ended up regretting. Anyone in the room? Anyone in the room? Scrolling through Instagram. I'm happy to go first. We're in a sharing, caring, safe environment. My dumbest purchase during lockdown, scrolling through Instagram. Instagram convinced me all of a sudden that I could not live another day of my life without a heated eye massager. A mechanical, heated eye massager that looks like a virtual reality headset, but all it does is massage your eyes in a really annoying way. I not only bought the heated eye massager, I bought a matching one for my partner. I'll give you the tip, ladies and gentlemen, you do not need a heated eye massager. You're welcome. But there were some categories, retail categories, that really exploded during COVID. Probably no surprises that one of the biggest ones, and of course, a lot of people made their first online purchase during COVID. And again, this is really good news because we're certainly not seeing these numbers contract anytime soon. 1.36 million Australian households made their first purchase during lockdown, during the first wave of the pandemic. And some, as I said, some categories boomed through COVID. Online wine sales were up 82%. No surprises there. And of course, some of us made the rookie error of combining the online wine deliveries with more online shopping. And that made it fascinating sometimes when those parcels arrived, didn't it? Because it was like, really, a delivery for me? I don't What, really? That's right. I remember now, the heated eye massager. Bread makers were up 660%. Was it just me, ladies and gentlemen, or did you get a little sick of seeing loaves of bread in your social feeds? We get it, people. You baked another loaf of sourdough. Book sales were up 28%. You're welcome, ladies. If you look closely, there is a picture of a book in this slide. So we're drinking more, eating more bread, but we're reading more. So that's okay, isn't it? Guys, my clicker seems to be stuck. I'm kidding, it's not stuck. So the good news, as a result of all of this, some of us went on a different journey through COVID. Some people got into lockdown, they're like, I'm just going to get super fit, set up a home gym. I actually work with a supplier to the gymnasium sector, so they supply just to gyms. They've never marketed direct to consumers, and of course, when we went into lockdown, they all of a sudden were able to, for the first time ever, market direct to consumers. And they wouldn't mind me telling you this, that they turned over what they would normally turn over supplying to almost every gym in the country. What they would normally turn over in 12 months, they turned over in May of 2020. So there's a lot of home gym equipment collecting dust in garages all around Australia right now. But the wellness industry completely exploded through COVID. So we're seeing that as a result of COVID, during COVID, or as a result of COVID, we are now more focused on our wellness than ever. And the supplement sector is experiencing its fastest category growth right now than it ever has. If you're not excited about being in this business right now by this point in the presentation, that's okay, I've got more. Let's not peak too early. One of the trends that COVID accelerated, this was something that was already happening, but COVID just kind of came along and gave it a little turbo boost, was the fact that as consumers, we now have more choice than ever, and we're all suffering from a little bit of choice fatigue. And the example I love to use is, that anyone been to the supermarket recently just to buy a tin of chopped tomatoes, a tin of diced tomatoes? Do you know how big the category and how many different variants of chopped tomatoes there are in the supermarket now? It's more than 30. There's the organic one, there's the organic one with the basil and the garlic, there's the one with just the basil, there's the one that, I just want a tin of chopped tomatoes. Like, how difficult is it? And sometimes we just get a little overwhelmed and we make no choice at all. So what we're seeing right now, and this is why I love how the Juice Plus products are bundled and packaged, because we are looking for complete solutions. We are seeing right now the rise of the kit economy. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistakes that you are not in the supplement business, you are actually in the kit business. You're in the solutions, you're in the wellness solutions business. And the fact that your products are bundled by solution is actually couldn't be better news for you right now, because we are seeing the rise of the kit economy, and we're seeing entire categories boom in the last few years, and entire categories that didn't exist a decade ago. A really good example is HelloFresh. Anyone in the room a customer of HelloFresh, Dinnerly, Blue Apron? There's a few in the market. Wow, about 20% of you. You've joined the cult, welcome. This is the future. Consumers are gravitating to products, services, and brands that don't ask me to make a whole bunch of micro decisions, make it easy for me, save me time. So if you don't know about HelloFresh, it's meal kit deliveries. You get a box delivered each week, it has meal kits in it. You open the kit, you don't need to think, it's got all the ingredients you need in exactly the proportion you need. You have a recipe card to follow. It's like colour by numbers for cooking, and you have a beautiful meal on the table in 20 to 25 minutes. This has taken the two most time-consuming aspects away from getting a meal on the table: deciding what to cook and doing the grocery shopping. HelloFresh delivered their first box in Australia 10 years ago. This category is only 10 years old, and last year they turned over $350 million. So the kit economy is alive and well, and I want you to think about what that means for your business, what it means for your sales, your marketing, and your business development strategy, because it is all about the kit, it's all about the complete solution, it's all about removing friction points and making it easy. If you read one business book this year, apart from mine, Let it be this one, the forever transaction. It's all about how the subscription economy right now is completely revolutionising how, as consumers, we purchase and consume everything from books to entertainment to food. One of the fastest growing brands in Australia right now is a business called Who Gives a Crap? Who would have thought? It's a toilet paper subscription. I mean, if someone had said to you 5 years ago, one of the fastest growing businesses in Australia is this toilet paper subscription called Who Gives a Crap, that's all they do, you'd think that was a little nuts. There's now a toothbrush subscription. If you've ever had a deep-seated fear, ladies and gentlemen, of forgetting to buy a new toothbrush, just relax. There's now a subscription you can sign up to. They'll send you a new one every 3 months. Like, phew, lifesaver, one less thing to worry about. And of course, you're at the heart of your business is a subscription model. So this is really good news because it's normalised. In fact, they say the average Australian now has, on average, 28 subscriptions of some kind. Now, if you doubt me on this, lose your credit card and cancel it, and you'll soon learn how many, perhaps little subscriptions you're still paying for that you may no longer still be needing or using. You're welcome. Follow me for more financial advice. But the big question that this book poses, that Robbie Kalman Baxter, the author, poses in this book, which is, I think, what we all need to do deep thinking about right now, and thinking about what it means for how we take our business and activate our business from this moment, from this day, is what is your forever promise to your customers? What is your forever promise to your customers? Because I believe right now, or in fact in the next 12 to 24 months, moving forward post-COVID, we are going to see in your industry, and in fact in this business, a very clear delineation, two types of businesses. We're going to see those that are transaction focused, and we're going to see those that are relationship focused. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, if you focus on relationship first and product second, I'm not telling you something you don't already know. You will win the battle for relevance, and your business will be where it deserves to be in 12 months' time. So forget about transactions, focus on the relationships, and the results will follow. If I had to sum up where I think the customer experience opportunity is for you right now in this business, it would actually have to come down to one word. In fact, last year I was meant to be taking a group of clients to Japan for a study tour, which obviously didn't happen. And the reason for that is, if you've ever been to Japan, you'd know they have a very particular way of delivering on service culture. They have a very unique way of delivering on their customer experience. And there's actually a word in Japanese. It's the only language in the world that has a word to describe service culture. And the word is omotenashi. And omotenashi simply means to be of service, not to be servant, but to be of service without expecting anything in return. And if I wanted you to embrace one ethos, one concept, one message out of our time together today, let it be that everything that you do in your business should be driven by the ethos of omotenashi. How can I be of help? How can I serve? Because I guarantee this will have a boomerang effect on your business and ripple effects on your business. You don't even know that it might actually come back to you in a year or 2 years' time, but come from a place of omotenashi and the results will follow. I think another big thing that we all need to embrace and almost get back to the art of is curiosity. Because we've all become so busy and we've all had a pretty traumatic time in various ways in the last 2 years, that we now just need to get back to being centred, being present, and actually being genuinely curious about the people around us. At the end of 2018, I was really fortunate to be invited, along with 19 other entrepreneurs, to spend a week at a leadership retreat on Necker Island with Richard Branson. I've tried to find a non-wanky way to say that, but I haven't yet discovered it, so I just say it. What was incredible about that experience, and obviously lots of layers to it, of just hanging out with Richard Branson with 19 other people, is that this opportunity or privilege, if you like, of observing Richard Branson in his natural environment is that Richard Branson's head exists almost permanently at a 12-degree angle. Because without doubt, always being the most interesting person at the table, he was always the most interested. He was always asking more questions. He was always saying, tell me more. He was always wanting to go deeper on someone's story. And as I observed this over a week, it occurred to me that this is possibly one of his secrets to success. Richard Branson is one of, if not the most successful entrepreneur of our lifetime. Let me tell you, he runs his businesses with the enthusiasm of a startup. And let's be honest, he has all the answers, but he's actually the one asking all the questions. At 71, he's actually the most curious person at the table. And it occurred to me that even though we often have the answers, we should actually spend more time asking more questions. Because often questions are the answers. And when we come from a place of unbridled curiosity, it's not just about solving problems, it's actually about learning more, having a richer picture, and having a richer tapestry in which to connect with other humans. Because when we come from a place of curiosity and we are brave enough to not only ask more questions, but to ask for more, this is how the cumulative effect of being a little bit more brave and asking one or two more questions can actually lead to immense long-term results. Who likes Kit Kats? I always love when I ask this question. People are always a little nervous because they're like, I don't know, do I like Kit Kats? Am I going to have to do something? Am I going to have to get up on stage? I don't know, do I like Kit Kats? Like, it's a fairly binary thing, would you not say? You either like Kit Kats or you don't. So who likes Kit Kats? Oh, more of you like Kit Kats now. There's a surprise. Now, I would normally throw these out into the audience with great confidence and gusto, but I have a little bit of PTSD because just prior to COVID, I was speaking at a conference in Perth. Do you remember WA? Who is here from WA? Amazing. Thank you so much for coming to another country. Actually, when you fly to WA now, you can actually see them digging out the channel. I'm kidding. Anyone here from Adelaide? Awesome. Just one. Adelaide will be great when it's finished, don't you reckon? I'm kidding. I love Adelaide. You guys punch way above your weight for restaurants, by the way. Who's here from Canberra who had to yes! You guys are excited. You didn't have to go anywhere. Thank you for the weather, by the way, for the temperature. It's a little cold. That's okay. Anyway, so I normally throw these out. So I'm in Perth at a conference. There's about 200 people in the room, round tables. They've all got glasses of water. You know where the story's going, don't you? I throw a Kit Kat out into the audience. What are the odds of it 2 tables back, it hitting a glass, breaking the glass, and spraying the woman with water and broken glass? Now, I used to play softball for Queensland many, many years ago. So my inner voice was, great shot, still got it. My outer voice was, please don't sue me. So I'm a little shy, so I'm going to need a Kit Kat monitor. What's your name here, sir, in the front with the scarf? Bedrin. Sorry? Bedrin. Can you be my Kit Kat monitor? Now, here's the thing. We've got about 350 people in the room, and we've got 10 Kit Kats, so how are we going to do this? Should we just give it to the good-looking people? I'm kidding. Okay, now here's the power of enthusiasm and standing out in a crowd. If you would like a Kit Kat, you are going to have to convince my Kit Kat monitor that you are worthy of a Kit Kat. He has the power, ladies and gentlemen. Getting accosted, I love it. Throw. I want to see some throwing. He's getting tackled, he's getting mobbed. Oh, I love it. Well done. I think you did really well. Very diplomatic of you. Excellent. Thank you so much. So I'm filling up my car with petrol one afternoon. I go inside to pay for the petrol. This is before petrol cost less than wine. Doesn't now, does it? And there's a message in that, don't you think? Drink, don't drive. Anyway, I go inside to pay for the petrol. As I went to tap my card for the $92 for the tank of diesel, the cashier said, "Would you like for an extra $1, or are you getting Kit Kats? For an extra $2. I said, "I won't take the Kit Kat, but I'm curious. I obviously am curious and obsessed about why people do things more than most." And I said to him, "I've always wondered how many people actually say yes to the Kit Kat." I said, "Roughly out of 10, like anecdotally, how many people do you think say yes?" His eyes lit up. He said, "I can tell you precisely how many." He happened to be the proprietor of the petrol station. And this was a big, big service station. How many people do you think say yes to the Kit Kat at point of purchase out of 10? 8, 7, 6, 1, 3? I would have thought 3 to 4 on a good day. 6.2. 62% of people say yes to the Kit Kat because they're offered the Kit Kat. I then said to him, "How many customers a day do you serve?" And he said around 1,500. Are you doing the math? Let me do it for you. $678,000 of additional revenue just for asking the question a year. Now, why don't we ask these questions? Why don't we go one step further with our customers? Or we don't ask these questions because it often takes us outside our comfort zone. And when we are outside our comfort zone, we are fearful of rejection. I guarantee it's the fear of rejection that is holding back your business right now from where it could, should, and would be if you just demonstrated a little bit more courage and were your bravest self. Because, of course, in dealing with the 6.2 people who say yes to the Kit Kat, he has to deal with the 3.8 people who say no to the Kit Kat, doesn't he? And that is a bit awkward. But do you think every time someone says no to the Kit Kat, he goes out the back to the office and goes, "Oh my God, I feel so rejected. I can't even go back out there. I was smiling, I was friendly, I did the upward inflection on the sentence. They still said no, I feel so rejected. I just can't go back out there." He's making it rain, people. He's got 678 grand in the bank because he's brave enough to ask the question. I drove out of that petrol station that day, mind a little blown once I'd done the numbers, and I thought to myself, wow, I think every business in every industry has a Kit Kat question. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm yet to find one that doesn't, and if I do nothing else today but probe you, prompt you, and get you thinking about what is your Kit Kat question, then I've done my job in this room today. Because it's just about asking one more. It's about setting a slightly bigger goal, and it's about being brave enough to ask the question. This is probably a good time to publicly acknowledge the wonderful Adam Westwick. Many of you don't know this, but the reason I'm here today... Oh, no, sorry, lost it. Where are you, Adam? Adam is the reason I'm here today. I spoke at his freestyle event in 2019, I think it was. And we set a goal together that day for me to be on this stage. So if you are loving this presentation, you can thank Adam. If you're not so much liking it, you can blame Adam. So well done. Thank you, my friend, for your support and being an advocate. Now, if price is a barrier for you and you find it difficult to be brave enough around a price conversation, I just want you to remember this one slide from our time together today. This is a real screen capture from the Tiffany & Co website, and you're seeing that correctly. That is a $2,650 gold paperclip. Ladies and gentlemen, call me crazy, but I think if there's a market for a $2,650 gold paperclip, we're actually okay on the price front, would you? You know, when we ask more questions, it does something really magic. It enables us to connect with other humans in a really special way. It enables us to build commonalities. Isn't this the cutest photo you've ever seen? Actually, I've seen some cuter babies here today, if I'm honest. Commonality is what drives us as human beings. We gravitate, particularly in uncertain times, and we've just been through and are going through the most uncertain time probably of hopefully our lifetime. We gravitate to people, brands, and places that we have something in common with because it makes us feel something. We do it subconsciously. We actually do it as an inbuilt survival mechanism. We gravitate to people, brands, and places that we have something in common with because it makes us feel what? Safe. It makes us feel safe. It actually speaks to our highest human need, above shelter, above food. It actually speaks to safety. Now, I don't know about you, but isn't safe the overriding emotion you want people in your business to feel? You want to make them feel safe. You want to make them feel safe to be their bravest self. And you do that by building multiple points of commonality. Commonality is the platform for trust. So when we come from a place of curiosity and we're genuinely curious about the people around us, then it enables us to build those points of commonality. On that trip to Necker Island in 2018, one of the other incredible humans we had with us on that trip was a woman by the name of Katie Coleman. Katie Coleman was the first female NASA astronaut to lead a mission to the International Space Station. How's that for a byline on your LinkedIn profile? It's pretty impressive. Anyway, Katie, and you can look her up, she has an amazing TED Talk. And Katie, by the way, you have to constantly remind yourself that she's a NASA astronaut because she's about 5'0". She looks and sounds like a cartoon character. And I mean that with all love and respect because every time she talks, you just want to hug her. Anyway, she told the story of that mission really openly and honestly, and Katie had a problem because they were 6 weeks out from the mission. She was leading the mission, and then she had 3 male astronauts with her on that mission, a Russian and an American and a Chinese astronaut. Sounds like the start of a bad joke. Stick with me. Now, Katie had a real problem because not only, listen to this, not only did those 3 astronauts not like each other, they refused to talk to each other. Now, I'm not an astronaut, obviously, but I'm assuming that if you're in a shuttle hurtling to the International Space Station, what's probably pretty important? Communication and teamwork. So she had to resolve this really quickly. So Katie had to put her own ego aside and she had to start with the one thing that she knew all 3 of them had in common, apart from being astronauts, and that's the fact that all 3 of them hated and resented the fact that she was a female in charge of the mission and they did not hide it. So that's where she had to start. She had to start with what she knew those 3 had in common. From there, she could start the conversation, build the trust, build the commonality, and build the teamwork communication so they could have a successful mission. And the wonderful term that Katie had for it was magnetic threads. I love this analogy because she said as humans, we're actually all bound and connected by magnetic threads. Every single human on the planet. There are billions, trillions, zillions, whatever the next one is, of magnetic threads that bind us all and connect us all. But they're invisible. And it's our job as leaders and it's our job as humans to remain present and curious long enough to find those magnetic threads and turn them from invisible to visible. Okay, this is the only interactive part of the session. You guys actually get to do something. Are you excited? Okay, you'll need a part. Just calm down, everyone. Again, let's not lift the roof off. Like we don't want to finish, just hold some energy for the end. You'll need it when you're standing up. I'm kidding. So you'll need a partner for this exercise. The first thing I need everyone to do is find your partner, or you can do it in a threesome. It's okay, it is the weekend. Put your hand up. Put your right hand up nice and high. Point your right finger high to the ceiling. Now the first thing is in your pair, and this will be interesting, in your pair, the first thing I need you to do on the count of 3, without thinking about it subconsciously, point to the best looking person, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I want you to look around, people, because if you saw anyone doing this, they're a narcissist. And if you saw anyone doing this, they're actually a serial killer. And if you're married to them, that's potentially a problem. Okay, so here's your task. You have 60 seconds to find 3 things that you have in common. Now, here are the rules. Number 1, it can't be something that you already know. It's like, you're at the Juice Plus conference, so am I, amazing. Number 2, it can't be something that is physically obvious, right? So you've got green eyes, so have I. Amazing. It's got to be 3 things that you don't already know about this person. Through being curious, asking questions, you have 60 seconds to find 3 things that you have in common. So you just have 1 minute, go. Okay, 15 seconds, 15 seconds to go. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, hands up if you got to 3. Who made it to 3 things? Excellent. Look at you guys go. Do you all feel closer? Do you feel more connected? Did anyone find out something? What I want to know is who came up with the most different, interesting, unusual point of commonality? Who found out something kind of cool and interesting? Yes, tell me. Sorry? You've moved homes just 4 times. Amazing. That's incredible. You can start a little support group, like right here, the 4 times moving. Who else? Who else came up with something interesting, unusual? The partners in the room. I want to find out, did you learn something about the other person that you did not know? Yes, tell me. Your fold is not scrunches. I love it. I love it. I'm with you guys, by the way. Actually, I'm a bit of a hybrid. I'm a bit of a fold and scrunch, but anyway, but do you feel closer? But who found that exercise interesting? When your objective is to find what you have in common with the other person, it just leads to different conversations, doesn't it? Actually forces you to be curious. The other thing that I think that COVID has given us, the gift that COVID has given us, is how much more we all appreciate milestones. I got really curious a few months ago as a researcher. I was curious to know what's been the cumulative impact of what we've all had taken away from us in the last 2 years. Because in the last 2 years, because of travel restrictions, border closures, lockdowns, isolations, we've all missed out on really significant milestones: family get-togethers, engagement parties, weddings, reunions, birthdays, and even funerals. And I got curious as to exactly what that looked like. And what I learnt from that research is that every Australian on average in the last 2 years has missed out on an average of 4.5. 4.5 milestones over a 2-year period, just things we couldn't get to. If you extrapolate that out, it's 100 million milestones just in Australia. Now, the opportunity in that is I think milestones are going to mean more. We are going to celebrate harder, we're going to clap louder, we're going to hug tighter. Milestones are just going to mean more, so your ability to celebrate with your customers, reward, acknowledge, and recognise milestones is one of the greatest opportunities you have in your business right now. And again, it takes you immediately from a transaction mindset to a relationship mindset. This is my little boy, Ollie. He looks pretty cute, but he's a bit of a troublemaker. 7 years of IVF. IVF taking the fun out of sex since 1976. He then not only took 7 years to come, he then came super early, like he was 9 weeks pregnant. It's like, pick a lane, dude. So we had 8 weeks. He was 1,500 grams born. As my brother said, he's caught fish bigger than that. So we had 8 weeks in the neonatal intensive care unit at the Royal Brisbane Hospital. But as you can see, he's well and truly made up for it, and he's pretty much perfect now, except when it's bedtime. And I've been pretty fortunate to travel with him extensively, certainly prior to COVID. So I just pretty much took him on the road. This was his very first flight. Loves business class. This was his 60th flight, and at the end of 2018, he did his 100th commercial flight. So this is a really cool story. We were flying from Melbourne to Brisbane, and I took a little photo of him, and I just put it on my Instagram stories, and I said, how cool, little monkey's taking his 100th flight, and I just tagged at Qantas. This was back when Qantas was like an airline that actually had staff. Like your planes took off and your bags got there. It was a really, they were the days, weren't they? Anyway, someone at Qantas obviously saw it. By the time we're descending into Brisbane, the hostie comes up to us and says, I'm looking for Master Oliver. He said, that's me. she said, I've got a personal invitation from the pilot. He'd like to see you in the cockpit when we land in Brisbane because we understand it's your 100th flight and we'd like to celebrate with you. Now, they don't do this anymore as a result of 9/11, so it's a pretty big deal. So as you can see, he got to hang in the cockpit for about 10 or 15 minutes. They made a huge deal of him. He got to play with all the buttons and levers. Thank God the plane was stationary. He even got to keep the captain's hat, which I felt really bad about at the time, but then when COVID hit, I'm like, well, he doesn't need that anymore, does he? Too soon? This is the power of milestones. This is the power of taking moments that mean something to other people and amplifying them. If you can just step this up, embrace the power of now and leave this room with a commitment to embracing more milestones and making more magic happen with people in your business that those milestones mean something to, I guarantee the ripple effect of that on your business is going to be exponential over the next couple of years. The other message I want to leave with you today, or I want you to take away, is everyday bravery is sometimes just having the courage to ask. It's having the courage to ask what you're worth. And I have to say, unfortunately, as women, the women in the room, we're not really always great at asking what we're worth. We actually always put ourselves last. We take the burnt chop. We fold our own washing last. We're really good at putting ourselves at the bottom of the list. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to encourage the ladies in the room just to put yourself up the list a little bit. And actually, life will pay any price you ask. Many years... Okay. I'm not finished yet. I got an encore, ladies. So many years ago, before I went into speaking, I built up a marketing agency from scratch over 10 years, and I ended up selling it to a multinational. And the global CEO of that multinational was a billionaire in his 80s, and over the sale period, which was 6 months, we got to know each other pretty well. And he became a really amazing mentor for me. And one night, we were heading out for dinner after a meeting, and we're walking down Collins Street in Melbourne. And we got to the corner of Collins and Exhibition Street, and someone who was obviously homeless and had quite aggressive nature about him approached us quite aggressively and said, "Have you got a dollar? Have you got a dollar?" Now, because Bill the billionaire, true story, is not a big guy and he's in his 80s, your natural intention or your natural instinct is to kind of go into protect mode because he's in his 80s and he's a billionaire and you just don't want anything to happen on your watch. So I sort of instinctively stepped between them, and Bill very gently pushed me out of the way. And he put his hand in his pocket, and he pulled out the coins that he had in his pocket, which were two $2 coins. So he picked up one of the $2 coins, and he gave it to the guy, but the guy didn't take his eyes off the other $2 coin that was in his hand. And he said, "Can I have the other one?" And Bill very slowly closed his hand and he put his hand back in his pocket. And he said, "No, son, you can't. You asked me for $1 and I gave you 2. Try asking for 5 next time." And then he said, "You know, life will pay any price you ask." And off we walked. The guy was just sort of standing there, like just frozen. And I desperately wanted to run back to him and go, "Mate, I hope you listened because you just got schooled by a billionaire." But it's true, isn't it? Life will pay any price you ask. Set the goals. It might take a while for them to come to you, but it's about having the courage to ask. And I remembered that this is the slide that I wanted to thank Adam. I did it a little bit early, but this was at Freestyle Retreat, and this was the day that Adam and I together set the goal for me to be on this stage. And that, as you can see, it's a bit hard to see from the photo, is a standing ovation. A standing ovation. Just... I'm kidding, okay. Thank you. You know, if we've learned anything in the last 2 years, it's this, haven't we? It's true. It's one of life's most obvious, simple lessons that sometimes comes from us out of nowhere. And I think the challenge, but the incredible, insane, magic, exciting opportunity we have is how we take it and turn it into fertilizer. This was a skill that I'm still learning, but was taught to me by an incredible woman based in Sydney. This is Sophie Smith. If you met Sophie, you'd think that she was the most insanely energizer bunny, positive people that you've ever met. Sophie started a charity called Running for Premature Babies, which I'm a proud ambassador for, because Sophie lost triplets through prematurity. She didn't lose one or two, she lost all three. One at day 1, one at day 17, and one at day 58. Can you imagine? This would kill most people, as would the fact that not long after that, her husband died of a brain tumour. Sophie started running for her own mental health, but she then thought, okay, this is all pretty shitty, but how can I do something good with this? So she started this charity, which has now raised over $5 million for neonatal intensive care units all around the country. So Sophie isn't she amazing? So Sophie taught me this skill of even sometimes it's those moments where things are really coming at you that are not expected and really can get you down. It's actually about how do you pick yourself up and say, okay, how can I turn this into fertilizer? How can I turn this into good? And for me, you know, this skill, as I said, I'm still learning. I've had the last couple of years a pretty challenging time with someone who I was in a relationship with who unfortunately hasn't let go and continues to harass and bully me, sometimes in a pretty nasty way. And this, for a period of time, was really affecting me. It was affecting my everything in my life. And one day I thought, okay, how can I turn this into fertilizer? So every time I would get a bullying message or a nasty message or a harassment message, I would go onto the Alana and Madeline Foundation for Anti-Bullying and I would make a donation in that person's name with that person's email address. So he would get the email to say thank you for your generous donation to the Alana and Madeline Foundation. And I'm pretty proud to say that we've managed to raise a few $1,000s for anti-bullying, which I just think is awesome. This is fertilizer in action, ladies and gentlemen. Now, again, I have a particular message for the ladies in the room. We are so good at so many things. We're a force of nature. And you're in this business and you're in this room because you are in an environment where women naturally lift each other up. But I believe there's this insidious narrative that is starting to permeate with women and have a really underlying but negative impact on how women interact with each other, how we support each other, how we connect to each other, and how we communicate, and how we talk about each other, and in fact, how we talk about ourselves. It kills me that 3 of the most highest rating shows on TV right now with women are Married at First Sight, because it's a show that teaches you so awesome lessons about healthy relationships, Real Housewives, and the Kardashians. Now, if you really listen, and hopefully no one in this room watches these, and I've had a few people say, yeah, but it's my guilty pleasure. Your brain can't decipher between what it's hearing as a guilty pleasure entertainment and actually a real narrative. If you are watching any of these shows, or in fact you have friends you care about who are still watching these shows, please get them to stop. If you listen to the narrative, it's all negative, and it's actually all about, the whole premise of these shows is how do we tear each other down. I mean, Real Housewives, are you kidding me? You really look like that? No wonder your husband left you. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? The Kardashians like, oh my God, I can't believe she's wearing that. Oh my God, is she really wearing that? Stop with the negative narrative and just, it actually has an impact on our subconscious. So yeah, you have people you care about who are watching those negative narrative shows. Let's replace it with stuff that lifts us up. Now, often we forget, and this couldn't be more relative and relevant for your business right now, is that it is often the little things that we do that have the biggest impact, hence the Kit Kat question. So I lived for most of 2011 in the US. I was based in Chicago, and I usually go back a couple of times a month, certainly prior to COVID. And I was back in the US and the Macy's sale was on. Now, the Macy's sale, they don't do sales in the States like we do them here, like, every week. They have proper sales, right? And they celebrate it. It's like a twice-a-year sale. So we're not just talking 20, 30, 40% off. We're talking 60, 70, 80, 90% off. 5 floors of delicious bargains. So I'm wandering around the Macy's sale, and every woman in the room will know what I'm talking about because it's all happened to us. After about an hour, I gravitate over to the only 3 square meters of the entire 5-floor department store not on sale. Has this ever happened to you, ladies? Please give me a wave so I know I'm not alone. And then what happens, of course, is you fall in love with something inside that 2 square meters, that 3 square meters. So in this case, it happened to be this beautiful green handbag. Now, what happens at this point, and gentlemen, I'm giving you a little insight into female shopping psychology, and if you share it outside this room, I'll deny it. What happens at this point is we split off into 2 very schizophrenic personalities, right? There's responsible Amanda, and there's reckless Amanda. Reckless Amanda wants the handbag. Look at it, it's so beautiful. It's just awesome. It's got 3 different straps that come with it, and it's only $300. Responsible Amanda says, "Have you lost your mind? It's $300 US. Last count, you had 13 handbags. You actually only have 2 shoulders. Probably step away from the handbag." Reckless Amanda says, "I know, can you believe it's only $300? And if it goes with 100 outfits, and I wear those outfits 3 times per year, that comes down to $1 per wear just in the first 12 months. Responsible Amanda says, "You've actually shopped a fair bit on this trip. You actually have 38 kilos of luggage to get home. It's going to cost you extra money in excess luggage to get it home, which doesn't make any sense. Step away from the handbag." So on this rare occasion, responsible Amanda has won out. So reckless Amanda is walking away going, "Whatever, you're so boring." Ladies, have you ever done this where you've actually decided not to buy something? You've made the decision, you're firm, you're resolute, you're actually walking away, and then what do? You look back. You look back to torture yourself of what you've denied yourself of. Just having a glance back. Sometimes like whiplash, right? So I'm about, 8 meters from the handbag. I look back and I see a little tag hanging off the side of the bag that I had not seen before with 3 magic words. Better than sale. Free matching umbrella. I'm a little embarrassed to admit that I actually ran to the handbag just in case anyone snatched it from under me. I opened the bag and it's got this cutie patootie little matching umbrella that actually had its own pocket inside the bag. I couldn't get this bag to the counter quick enough. As the ladies processed my American Express for $300 US. I'm saying to her, "Isn't that just the cutest thing? It's got its matching umbrella which has its own pocket inside." And she's probably thinking, "Yep, which probably cost $3 to make in China. You are an idiot." The point of this story is it was actually the $3 umbrella that got the $300 sale over the line. Sometimes it's the little things in our business that actually have the biggest impact. It's the little things that we do. It's the 1%ers that actually lead to the 100%ers. So what are the little things, extra things that you can be doing? And it's also about connecting. As I said, social media and the last 2 years have really enabled us to digitally connect, and that is so awesome. And a lot of you have taken this and really run with it and built online tribes beyond your wildest dreams. But it's now time to step up and harness the best of high tech with the best of high touch, because human connection is something we're all craving for, and your ability to connect with other humans and actually give them a feel-good experience is, again, one of the critical factors that's going to determine the trajectory of your business in the next 12 months. So one of those times I was back in Chicago again, I was shopping again, amazingly, a bit of a theme here, and I wandered on Michigan Avenue in Chicago into Gap, just to pick up some basics. And guys, when we say that, just so you know, it's code for we were just shopping. So I'm in Gap for, 30, 40 seconds. This sales assistant moseys up to me. She says, "Well, will you look at you?" And I was like, "Hi." She said, "Oh, honey, I don't know what you've got going on, but you have got something going on from head to toe. Fabulous." How much money do you reckon I spent in Gap in the next 60 minutes? The greatest gift that you can give another human is to see them. It's ultimately what we all want. We want to be seen, we want to be noticed. And the more that you can do that, to connect, be brave enough, be courageous enough to really go further, go deeper. One of the things that COVID has given us is the opportunity and the permission to have more authentic conversations. I'm going to be outside signing some books. They're $25, and I'm also going to throw in a free digital and audio book version, so you get the entire experience, particularly good for insomniacs, because I actually narrated it. So come and say hi, and I will sign those books for you. I wanted to finish on this story. The last 2 years has been a lot. We've all had different challenges. We've all had different things that have occurred. Our businesses have been affected in different ways, some good, some positive. Health-wise, some positive, some negative. In November last year, I thought what I had was a really bad bout of gastro. So I ended up in hospital with dehydration on the Friday night. I had one of those anti-nausea injections and a bag of IV fluids. And I woke up and I felt 100 and they sent me home. By Sunday night, I was so sick, my temperature was 43 degrees. And by the time I got to hospital on Sunday night, I was in strife. I'd been diagnosed with E. coli septicemia. They hooked me up. I had 3 cannulas. They hooked me up to every antibiotic they had. And by the 3rd night, they said, "We've actually run out of options. Have you got your affairs in order?" My partner was in lockdown in Melbourne, and we thought we'd never see each other again. And I had to find my most courageous self. And in fact, on day 3, when things were pretty dire, the doctor said, "We just have run out of options. The antibiotics are not working. Let's get you out of your hospital gown. Do you have something that you feel brave in? Like a garment or something, piece of jewellery?" I mean, this is pretty wacky for a traditional doctor to say this. So he got me out of my hospital gown, and I got a friend to go home and get the singlet that I do my weekly boxing class in, because I thought that's when I feel pretty kick-ass and pretty brave and pretty courageous and pretty strong. Now, did that make a difference? I don't know. But I had to fight pretty hard, and there were 2 nights that I felt like I was literally close to death. I spent 8 days in ICU, had 68 1.5 litre bags of antibiotics, and obviously I was a very, very sick girl. But I'm really happy that I found my most courageous self, and during that time, there's nothing like a near-death experience for you to get truly reconnected with your purpose, what's important in life. And I have to say that lying there, obviously apart from Ollie, one of the things that I thought, wow, this is going to mean I can't impact people the way I want to. And I realised that for me, that's what I was put on this earth to do. That's my why. Ollie's my why, but having the ability and the privilege to share my story and share ideas that hopefully make a difference in people's lives and business, that's why I'm here. My hope today is that I've raised as many questions that I have answered. Please continue the conversation, continue it with the people in this room. Feel free to continue it with me. It has been such a privilege and an honour. Being on this stage was a goal that Adam and I set 2.5 years ago, so it has been a real honour and a privilege to close out your conference. Thank you so much for having me, and all the best. Thank you.